One of the important add-on modules is also the module form. If you add it, you get a widget that is at the beginning empty. You can place it somewhere. You can go to form. And now you can fill your form with some fields. For example, I want to have a float value. Again, I could ask, for example, for a voltage and the unit. Then I can specify again min and max and so on. And now the user can enter a value like 2 volt. I can go to my sequencer, maybe add this also to my first branch, go to my SMU. Now I also have the chance to add the form 1 voltage. And when I start my measurement, I can configure this SMU just to stay at 2 volt, and the user can configure everything here in the dashboard and find all the values that are relevant to program it or to configure it. And again, I could also add further other things like a checkbox or like a timestamp. I can also add and use this timestamp to control something like the measurement should start after a certain timestamp or time has reached, for example. I can also add a port where when I click on this, I can check for ports, and you see a port list. You can check a port and you can hand over it to a module so that people can directly select a port here in the docking in the dashboard. And the idea is a bit that we can move everything that a user of SweepMe should control in this setting to the dashboard, and everything else can also be hidden. For example, I can hide the formula module, I can hide the control widgets, and so on. And whenever I need to control it again or configure it again, I can just double click it or use here this right click menu to also see it again. But this way you can move all the control into the dashboard. Another interesting module I already showed you briefly is custom function, which is a very powerful module because here you can add your own scripts. Let me show you once again. What you can see here is this module has 3 sections. It has a description, it has an arguments, and a variable section. The module, the descript comes with a class where you can define a docstring, and the docstring is automatically passed into the description. So this helps other users to understand what this script is doing. Then you can define variables and units, and these variables and units are passed into this variables box. So everybody can see what this function returns or rename the variables. And the last part are these arguments. And the arguments is simply a dictionary where you can define a string. The string is then shown automatically here in the user interface, and you can give it a default value. And based on the default value, SweepMe is creating here the user interface for you. So you don't have to program user interface, you just give this string and SweepMe knows what you want. And in the main function, you get such keyword arguments. This is again a dictionary where you can use the key that you previously defined to create the argument. You can now use to extract a parameter from this dictionary and process this somehow. So it is possible to hand over data from the system. For example, I can now select here the SMU 1 voltage, and I could also create further such fields where I can select a data point from SweepMe. And with that, it is possible then, for example, hand over all your measurement data, post-process it, and return it. And because the data in SweepMe is treated the same way for all the modules in the sequencer, it is also possible then to go to custom function and plot the data from custom function. And it is also saved to your file. And this way you can, for example, show the post-processed data already in the plot of SweepMe. Another important module is condition. Condition is, you can add it to a branch. And in condition, give it a little bit more space. You can, for example, say, if a very simple thing, my elapsed time is larger than 10, which would mean the measurement took more time than 10 seconds. Let's add a function and I can stop the measurement. But you can also do it with another value, like, for example, the current of the SMU. Imagine you would make an anodization experiment. You anodize a metal, and once the current drops below 1 microamp, I want to stop the measurement. So this is easily possible by changing here the direction, type in 1e minus 6, which is 1 microamp, and the measurement will stop after it after the current is below this current. It is also possible to add actions like skip current branch or skip sweeps below, which is very powerful because you can add multiple branches and you can run, for example, an endless loop in the first branch and use the condition to leave this first branch when some conditions are met. For example, you want to stabilize something, and when it's stabilized, you go ahead with the next branch and do, for example, a measurement. And if you have a higher module, like a temperature controller, you can go to the next temperature, stabilize it, and again, make a measurement, for example. And for this, these add-on modules are important to do such things. There are also modules like, for example, PID, where you can configure set value and measured value and bring two modules into a feedback loop and to iterate until a certain instrument has a certain measurement value. For example, used often with vacuum chambers to control deposition rates or such things, or for temperature control. So there are just 3 minutes left. Last chance to ask a question. And if this is not the case, I would like to thank all of you that you joined the web seminar. There will be another one in June, which is more dedicated to users from America. It will be in the evening, but you can, if you have colleagues, you can still give them a hint to join. If you have any questions, also feel free to directly contact us or use our forum. We would be very happy to get also feedback. Also, all the ideas of new features that you would like to see are really important because this helps us to get also into new use cases and understand how to develop the software. And otherwise, I wish you a really nice day and hope to stay in contact with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.